Welcome to the Toolbox Episode 1, the place where fathers rebuild from the inside out. A practical workshop for rebuilding connection, confidence, and grounded leadership after separation. Our philosophy: rebuild the man your kids can look up to. Protect the father-child bond above everything. No revenge talking, no disrespect toward mums, only ownership, accountability, and discipline. Every tool is grounded in behavioral science and evidence-based fatherhood research. This is support content only, not legal or medical advice. If you're in a crisis right now, contact the emergency services in your local area or a family member immediately. Fellas, that first night alone hits harder than most people think. The house you now live in is extremely quiet, too quiet. You walk around trying to adjust to your new surroundings, but nothing feels right. That silence can either break you down or teach you how to rebuild. But rebuilding isn't about chasing or begging your children for reconnection. It's about finding structure again and learning to be disciplined so you never react to things that are out of your control. But no one's perfect. There was a time, a long time ago, when I found it very difficult coping while not living with my child. After I separated from my ex, I moved into a home of my own. But the thing that stood out to me, or the thing that I remember most, was the quietness within my house. It was the wrong type of quiet. The house sounded hollow. You could basically hear a pin drop. I had no routine at that point. Nothing made sense to me. I felt like I had no purpose in life anymore. At first, like many other dads, I chased and chased and chased to maintain that connection and bond with my daughter. I sent lots of messages. I made lots of phone calls. And I did a lot of over-explaining within those messages that I sent to her because I was desperate. But it was like the harder I chased, the louder the silence became within my home and within my heart. I was stressed and anxious. I kept overthinking things. For example, why isn't she replying to my text messages or my phone calls? After a while, I realized that first I had to steady my life because my mind wasn't in the right place. I wasn't thinking straight. I was hurting a lot. So I started going for walks, long walks, every morning on my own. I did this for a few weeks. Eventually, I started to go for little jogs here and there, which helped to distract me from the negative thoughts that were running through my mind. Eventually, I joined the local gym and started to work out, not to gain muscle, but to release stress in a natural way, which really helped me mentally and physically. But at the same time, I was working on being more patient. Because sometimes you can't rush into things, especially when you have no control of the situation. I kept telling myself that everything happens for a reason, while staying calm and steady. But I continued to support my daughter from a distance by sending money and a few simple, no pressure, no expectation messages. Each act was quiet proof that I was still showing up. Weeks turned into months. But eventually, my daughter replied to one of my text messages just saying hello. It was the first of many, because eventually we started having full conversations on the phone about things like homework, music, nothing deep, nothing touchy. But at least we were having conversations, and we eventually started to make plans. After a few months, I was able to take her to the library, take her out for McDonald's, take her out for little treats like Legoland. After about 6 months, she started staying at my house 2 weekends a month, which was massive progress at that time. What that showed me is that by having patience, staying dad consistent, while looking after yourself, whether that's mentally, physically, psychologically, it all eventually pays off. The core wound we address in this episode is ambiguous loss, presence uncertainty, and identity erosion. Let's start with Tool 1, the check-in call. Tool 1, the check-in call. Why this works. When contact is rare or random, kids often interpret this in a very negative way, and it really affects them. They start to think, Dad doesn't care anymore. He's moving on without us. Dad's new girlfriend is preventing him from spending time with us. The check-in call is a strategy that proves you're still present without causing any problems or putting more pressure on yourself, or more importantly, your kid. Studies on optimal contact regularity reveal that short, pre-planned, predictable contact maintains stronger relationship connections, more effective than random long phone calls. Why? Because a short 5-minute call isn't emotionally exhausting, and at the same time, it builds a predictable routine, which is essential. It's all about being consistent over time. A 5-minute check-in call once a week is much better than a 40-minute call once a month because the brain recognizes routine, and routine requires repetition, not pressure or emotional intensity. How you apply it. I want you to choose 2 repeating days and times that you'll stick to for the next 3 months. For example, Monday after school at 6 p.m. and Saturday at 1 p.m. before they go out to meet their friends. Send a gentle reminder the day before your pre-planned phone call. Example, "Hi son, hope all is well. Just a little reminder. I'll be calling you tomorrow at 1 p.m. I look forward to catching up. Have a good day, and we'll speak tomorrow." The following day, when you make the phone call, stick to the 5 minutes as agreed. Keep a timer close by. Never put pressure on them to speak for longer. Let them navigate this part until they themselves ask, "Dad, can we speak for a little while longer today? I need help with my homework." Structure the 5 minutes like this. Minute 1, light catch-up. How was your week? Or, did you enjoy sports day at school? Minutes 2 to 4. Topics they're interested in. A funny viral video on TikTok, the new Call of Duty game, their football team's position in the league. Minute 5. Make plans for your next call and let them know you love them. If the next time you call and they don't answer, just leave a voice message and let them know you'll call back on your next chosen day and time. After 3 months, you'll have an established routine with your kid and it will only get better. Why? Because your kid's nervous system becomes accustomed to dad showing up every single time. Even for 5 minutes, dad is still committed. Be mindful. Even though the phone call is going well, don't push for more time. Keep it predictable, and you will see the results. However, dads are human too. If there's a time when you can't make the regular pre-planned phone call, never beat yourself up. But you must make them aware of this at least a day before the planned call. One promise not kept without warning will undo weeks or months of routine and trust building. The check-in call is proof that you're present. If you can't make it, give them a heads up. That keeps the routine and bond solid. Educational summary. When you or your children experience ambiguous loss, it injects intense uncertainty into your mind. Kids start thinking, is dad still my dad? Is dad doing okay mentally? Am I being punished because of the breakup? Dads start thinking, are they thinking about me? Do they still love me? Do they blame me for what happened? The check-in call provides consistent, reliable presence without emotionally exhausting your children. Research shows. Attachment research consistently show that children rely more on predictability and reliability than on duration or emotional intensity of contact when a parent is physically absent. Secure attachment is maintained when a child can accurately anticipate a caregiver's presence, even in brief, low-pressure forms. In situations of separation, predictable contact supports emotional regulation and preserves the child's internal sense of parental availability over time. Proven effectiveness. In practice, brief scheduled check-ins work because they are easy to repeat and hard to misunderstand. Over time, children stop guessing and start expecting you, which lowers tension and makes contact feel normal again. Here, the effectiveness isn't the intensity, it's the reliability. Tool 2. The 7-day check-in mail. Why this works. Unlike social media and every other digital messaging service or platform, sending a physical postcard once a week, which can be stored, builds documented proof of thought. Over time, this becomes evidence of your consistency and devotion. Research shows that little gestures that don't require any response at all build connection much quicker. Some people think high-demand gestures work, but they require reciprocation, which creates obligation. A postcard is the complete opposite. For ambiguous loss, the 7-day check-in postcard is consistent evidence that you're always thinking about your children, regardless of whatever life throws at you. After 24 weeks, your children will have a physical library of evidence that paints a much clearer picture than "Dad forgot about us." How to apply it. I want you to choose one day. Make this the same day every week. Keep it consistent. Write a postcard, but keep it short, about 40 to 50 words. Include One funny or interesting observation from your past 7 days. Saw a cat wearing boots today, reminded me of Puss in Boots. One question they don't have to respond to. Do cats like music? Let them know you love and miss them, and always sign, "Love you always, Dad." Purchase enough postcards and stamps so that you're always prepared and never panicking. Dads are human too. So if you mess up, don't over-apologize in the next card. Just continue where you were and keep proving that even from a distance, you're still reliable and available. Be mindful. Never use the postcard to vent your anger towards your ex. The past is the past. Never ask your kid to write back. That completely changes the mood and puts pressure on your kid to reply. The consistent routine is all that matters, never the reaction. Even if they haven't responded, keep to the routine. Educational summary. For children, ambiguous loss is the fear of being forgotten or erased in the absent parent's mind. The 7-day check-in postcard provides consistent, reliable weekly proof that Dad is still present, reliable, and consistent. Research shows. Research on autobiographical memory and emotional representation show that tangible reminders play a unique role in maintaining emotional bonds during periods of absence. Physical objects associated with a relationship helps children preserve continuity of identity and attachment by reinforcing stable memory traces. Unlike digital communication, physical artifacts remain present and accessible, strengthening emotional reassurance without requiring immediate interaction. Proven effectiveness. Weekly physical mail works because it becomes visible proof over time. Even when a child doesn't respond, the consistency builds a quiet record that you didn't disappear. The impact accumulates as the stack grows. Tool 3. The 3-photo check-in. Why this works. Children who suffer ambiguous loss also experience extreme anxiety because of the uncertainty surrounding Dad. Kids have no idea what your day-to-day life looks like. Sending a few photos every week gives them a visual image and reference of Dad's life, routine, and reality. We process visual information much quicker than text messages, which in turn creates empathy much more effectively. Why? Because seeing a person's environment activates mirror neurons, the brain's empathy circuitry. The 3-photo check-in format prevents that overwhelming negative energy and creates a gentler narrative. Take 3 photos at 3 different times of your day, for example, morning, midday, and evening. Or switch it to work, hobby, and home. Over time, your kids will have a mental map of Dad's life, and this will reduce the stranger effect. How to apply it. I want you to choose one day every week. Then choose 3 photos and send them via WhatsApp. No long messages, just a few words per photo. Examples. My evening walk took the canal path. Photo of the canal. My morning breakfast. Photo of your kitchen table. The photos must feel real and mundane, not curated for social media. This is about you sharing your daily routine with your child, not an Instagram story for the world. If they reply, respond briefly. If they don't, stick to your routine, send 3 more next week, then continue. After 3 months, your existence to your child will feel real, not imaginary. Be mindful. You must never send any photos of your new partner or her kids. No photos of special places you know they would like to visit. No captions like, "I really wish you could be here with me." You need to keep it neutral or even boring. Don't appear to be showing off or living your best life. And never demand photos in return. Educational summary. Children can't imagine the absent dad's day-to-day reality, and this makes them feel abstract. The 3-photo check-in routine is visual proof of a father's existence, which reduces the stranger effect. Research shows. Attachment theory demonstrates that children maintain an internal working model of a caregiver even during prolonged separation, provided there are consistent cues that the relationship remains active. Regular, familiar reminders of a parent's ongoing life help preserve this attachment representation, preventing the relationship from becoming psychologically distant or abstract. Continuity of representation supports emotional security and reduces anxiety associated with absence. Proven effectiveness. Visual continuity works because it bypasses explanation and reassurance, which children often struggle to process during separation. Images quietly build a living map of Dad's life, proof that you're consistent, grounded, and still a father operating with structure. Regular, ordinary photos reduce distance fog by making your life feel familiar instead of abstract. Over weeks, kids tend to ask fewer "where are you?" questions internally because your world becomes easy to picture. The goal is steady familiarity, not impressive moments. Tool 4. The shared playlist anchor. Why this works. When a dad doesn't live with his child anymore, silence becomes one of the hardest parts. Days feel empty. The house feels dead. It's easy to slide into thinking, "I'm being replaced," or "I'm losing the bond with my child." A shared playlist gives you a living connection you can feel every day, even when you're physically apart. This isn't about music. It's about giving your nervous system continuity when your family rhythm has been disrupted. How you apply it. 1. Create a playlist titled Our Songs on Spotify or Apple Music. 2. Add 3 to 5 songs that you and your child naturally enjoy. Never overthink it. 3. Once a week, add 1 new song and text them. Added a new song to our playlist today. Made me think of you. 4. Never ask them to add songs back. 5. Play the playlist during commutes, cooking, walks, or moments when the absence hits you hard. Be mindful. Do not attach expectations or force engagement. Keep the playlist light and positive. This is about your emotional continuity, not measuring their effort. Educational summary. Living apart from your child creates long stretches of emotional silence. The playlist anchors you back into the relationship and reduces the emptiness that makes separation much harder to cope with. What research shows. Psychological research on ritualized behavior show that predictable symbolic actions help individuals regulate emotional distress during periods of uncertainty or loss. Rituals restore a sense of agency and continuity when circumstances feel uncontrollable, allowing emotional bonds to remain active even without direct interaction. These practices reduce internal chaos by providing structure, meaning, and repetition. Proven effectiveness. A shared playlist works because it gives you a repeatable, low-effort connection point that doesn't depend on replies. It helps fathers feel less emotionally unhooked between contact windows, which supports steadier communication. Small continuity rituals often reduce the sense of nothingness that separation creates. Tool 5. The future-facing comment. Why this works. When you don't live with your child, every conversation can feel emotionally heavy. You overthink. You monitor every word. You fear saying the wrong thing. The future-facing comment is designed to ease the pressure by shifting your communication from explaining the past to creating simple future moments you can both look towards. It reduces guilt, removes emotional intensity, and gives you a stable rhythm to speak from. How you apply it. 1. Once per call or message, add 1 line that points gently to the future. Next time we speak, tell me the funniest thing that happened at school. 2. Keep it casual, never emotional. 3. Use it as a structure so you don't feel lost during phone calls. 4. If they never respond, continue the rhythm the next time without pressure. Be mindful. Never not use future comments as promises. Never use them to fix the past or explain the breakup. Keep it light, predictable, and low demand. Educational summary. Long-distance fatherhood often compresses connection into short, emotionally loaded windows, which creates internal pressure to make every interaction count. This pressure can unintentionally heighten anxiety, overthinking, and self-monitoring during calls, reducing natural presence. Future-facing communication reframes contact from emotional recovery to relational continuity. By anchoring conversations in what comes next, routines, plans, shared expectations, the brain shifts from loss processing to organization and predictability. This structure lowers emotional load for both father and child, allowing connection to feel steady rather than performative. Over time, it reinforces the core repair. Fatherhood is not a moment that must be proven, but a role that continues forward, calmly and reliably, even across distance. Research shows. Developmental research on narrative formation shows that future-oriented communication supports emotional organization and psychological stability in children. When conversations include references to upcoming events or shared expectations, children experience improved narrative coherence and reduced emotional overload. This forward-looking structure helps maintain connection without intensifying distress during periods of separation. Proven effectiveness. Future-facing comments keep contact light and structured, which usually makes calls feel less tense. Dads often experience fewer emotional crashes after conversations because the interaction stays anchored in what's next, not what was lost. Over time, this builds continuity without pressure. Tool 6. The light question, visit. Why this works. When you don't live with your child anymore, visits can feel awkward. You feel the gap. You feel the distance. And asking too many questions makes you feel like you're interrogating them instead of bonding. This tool reduces the pressure on you. It gives you a simple way to create connection without forcing conversation, which lets the relationship breathe naturally. How you apply it. 1. Choose 2 light activities: walking, cooking, or a board game. 2. During the first 20 to 30 minutes, avoid heavy questions. Stick to short prompts like, "Show me the picture you drew," or "Pick a song for the drive." 3. Allow the silence. It stabilizes you and gives them space to relax. 4. Let them lead the deeper moments when they're ready. Be mindful. Never force emotional closeness too early. Never overcompensate because you feel guilty. Silence is not rejection. It's nervous system regulation on both sides. Educational summary. When you don't live with your children, visits feel high stakes. The light question visit reduces pressure, lowers emotional intensity, and helps you cope with separation without trying to fix everything in one day. Research shows. Developmental research shows that side-by-side activities reduce social pressure and support emotional regulation, particularly when relationships feel fragile. Engaging in shared tasks without direct questioning allows children to remain connected while maintaining autonomy, which is especially important following periods of separation. This interaction style supports co-regulation by lowering performance demands and allowing connection to emerge organically rather than through verbal intensity. Proven effectiveness. Light question visits tend to go better because they remove the feeling of being tested or interviewed. When the pressure is removed, kids usually settle faster, and connection comes through shared moments rather than forced talk. This also helps dads stay grounded and confident during contact. Tool 7. The holiday continuity marker. Why this works. Ambiguous loss is amplified during holidays and birthdays. These are temporal landmarks that highlight absence. But when the absent parent acknowledges the holiday, even if they can't be present, it proves, "You're still in my mental calendar. Your important days still matter to me." Research on social pain shows that feeling forgotten on significant days activates the same neural regions as physical pain, while being remembered activates reward and belonging circuits. The holiday continuity marker is a simple, repeatable gesture that says, "I see you, kid. I'm with you, even from a distance." How to apply. For every significant day, birthday, Christmas, Easter, first day of school, send one acknowledgement 24 to 48 hours in advance and one on the day itself. Advance message. Big day Thursday, 12th birthday, thinking of you. Day of message. Happy birthday, hope you have a great day. Call you Saturday as planned. Keep messages brief, under 15 words. Warm, but not performative. I love you so much. Happy birthday, my angel. And forward linking. Mention next contact to prove continuity. If you can send a card or small gift, do it. If you can't, the message alone is proof. The pattern teaches, dad's absence doesn't mean dad forgets. Their significant days are still marked in your life. Be mindful. Never turn the holiday message into a guilt performance. For example, "I wish I could be there," or "It breaks my heart to miss this." That makes the message about your pain, not their birthday. Also, avoid over-the-top compensatory gestures if you can't be present. "Can't be there, but I got you an Xbox." That reads as guilt purchase, which feels hollow. Finally, never skip the acknowledgement because of your mood. Presence through acknowledgement greater than absence through avoidance. Educational summary. Ambiguous loss is amplified on significant days, birthdays, holidays, when absence feels most acute. Holiday continuity markers prove your child is still in dad's mental calendar. Their important days still matter from a distance. The research on ambiguous loss and relational continuity shows that acknowledgement of significant temporal markers helps maintain psychological presence when physical presence is limited. Remembering important dates communicates ongoing mental availability, which reduces feelings of invisibility and supports emotional continuity during separation. Proven effectiveness. Holiday acknowledgements work because they prove you still track your child's life across time, not just during visits. Over months, these markers reduce the fear of being forgotten on the days that matters most. The effect builds through repetition, not size of gesture. Tool 8. The parallel hobby thread. Why this works? Because losing daily contact with your child often leaves you feeling like you're no longer part of their world. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know if they're safe. A parallel hobby thread lets you stay connected without depending on their replies. It gives you a stable emotional anchor, a sense of shared direction, and a point of continuity when physical presence is missing. How you apply it. 1. Pick one small hobby both of you naturally like: football, gaming, drawing, cars, animals. 2. Once a week, you need to send one photo or update only about that hobby. "Saw this funny dog video, made me think of our old dog." 3. You must never ask questions or request a reply. 4. Keep it consistent. This tool supports your emotional connection rhythm. Be mindful. Never force engagement. It defeats the purpose. Keep it positive and pressure-free. This keeps you feeling connected even during long stretches of silence. Educational summary. Living apart from your child often fractures the internal sense of participation, not just missing moments, but missing continuity. This creates the core wound of feeling peripheral rather than parental. A parallel hobby thread counters that by keeping your inner life aligned with your child's world, even when there is no contact happening in real time. Engaging in the same interest independently sustains psychological involvement without requiring access, permission, or performance. It reduces the loneliness of distance by reinforcing an ongoing fatherhood role that exists between visits and calls, not only during them. The research. Identity continuity research shows that maintaining shared symbolic reference points helps preserve relational identity during prolonged absence. When individuals engage independently with a shared interest, the bond remains psychologically active even without direct interaction, supporting emotional stability and reducing identity erosion. Proven effectiveness. A parallel hobby thread helps because it keeps your fatherhood identity active between contact windows. Dads often feel less emotionally adrift when they maintain one stable shared lane with their child's interests. It's a small continuity practice that reduces disconnection over time. Tool 9. The logistical transparency text. Why this works. Ambiguous loss thrives on uncertainty. When logistics are vague, "I'll see you soon," or "we'll figure out a visit," your child's mind fill in the gaps with worst-case scenarios. "Dad's not really planning to see me," or "this is just talk." Logistical transparency is the antidote. It's clear, specific plans communicated in advance that reduce the cognitive load of guessing. Research on predictability shows that the brain experiences relief when uncertainty is reduced, even if the news isn't perfect. Knowing "Dad can't visit this weekend, but definitely next Saturday, 2 p.m., feels better than vague "I'll try to visit soon." The transparency text proves Dad's plans are real, not abstract. How to apply. Every Friday, or pick one consistent day, send a logistics text for the upcoming week. Structure. What's happening, when, and confirmation. Example. Next week plan. Tuesday 7 p.m. call, 5 minutes. Saturday 2 p.m. pickup for park, returning 4:30 p.m. Weather backup, covered bandstand. I'll text Saturday morning to confirm. If plans change, update immediately with revised specifics. Saturday pickup now 3 p.m. instead of 2 p.m. Park still on, returning 5:30 p.m. The text should be emotionally neutral, train schedule tone, not, I'm so excited to see you. Specific, times, locations, backup plans, and consistent, same day every week, even if the plans are, no visit this week, next confirmed visit is date. Over months, your kids will learn. Dad's plans are concrete. If dad says it, it happens. Uncertainty drops, and trust rises. Be mindful. Never send vague logistics. Hoping to see you this weekend is worse than no visit this weekend, next visit confirmed for specific date. Vagueness creates hope then, disappointment cycles. Also, never skip the Friday logistics text, even if the message is no visit this week. Silence reads as absence. A clear no visit this week but next Saturday 2 p.m. confirmed reads as presence with transparency. Finally, if you miss a confirmed plan due to an emergency, repair immediately. Missed Saturday due to emergency. Deeply sorry. Next Saturday 2 p.m. double confirmed. Educational summary. Ambiguous loss thrives on logistical uncertainty. When will I see dad? Is he really coming? Transparent logistics reduce cognitive uncertainty, proving dad's plans are concrete and reliable. The research. Research on predictability and stress regulation shows that clear, specific information reduces cognitive uncertainty and anticipatory anxiety even when outcomes are not ideal. When children know exactly what to expect and when, the brain shifts from threat monitoring to temporal organization, which supports emotional regulation during separation. Proven effectiveness. Logistical transparency works because it removes guessing. Clear plans reduce the hope-disappointment cycle and make your presence feel concrete even when contact is limited. Over time, specificity builds credibility. When dad says it, it always happens. Tool 10. The brief gratitude acknowledgement. Why this works. When you don't live with your child, co-parenting communication can drain you. It's intense and it's cold. Even worse, the emotional cost is insanely heavy. This tool protects your mental energy by keeping communication efficient, calm, and neutral so you can cope better with the separation. How you apply it. 1. When the co-parent shares useful information, respond with one brief acknowledgement. Thanks for letting me know. 2. No soft stories, no long replies, no emotional explanations. 3. This keeps interactions clean so you can stay focused on your child, not the conflict. Be mindful. You must never use this tool to be sarcastic or passive-aggressive. Always keep it functional, never emotional. This is about your stability, never their approval. Educational summary. Living apart from your child already creates a baseline of grief and longing. Ongoing co-parenting tension compounds that pain by keeping the nervous system in a constant state of alert. When every exchange risks escalation, emotional energy is drained away from parenting and redirected toward self-protection. This tool deliberately lowers the emotional temperature of interactions. By keeping responses brief, neutral, and contained, it reduces cognitive overload and prevents conflict from spilling into your internal world. That protection matters. When your mind is not consumed by replays, arguments, or anticipation, you regain the capacity to stay emotionally available for your child and to cope with separation without added psychological damage. The research. Research on conflict containment and emotional regulation indicates that low-intensity, neutral responses reduce escalation and physiological arousal in high-conflict communication systems. Brief acknowledgments function as boundary markers, preventing emotional contagion and preserving mental resources for caregiving roles. Proven effectiveness. Brief acknowledgments reduce stress because they stop exchanges from turning into emotional debates. Over time, this lowers rumination and keeps your mental energy pointed at parenting rather than past conflict. The benefit is containment. Calm replies, protect your bandwidth. Now, here are 5 resilient practices. 1. The order of 1, space reset. When a dad stops living with his children, the home becomes a psychological battleground. Rooms feel abandoned. Objects feel accusatory. Everything in the house reminds you of a life you're no longer inside. This practice gives you back territorial stability, the one thing separation strips away when you are the one who leaves the family home. How to apply it? I want you to choose one small physical zone in your current living space. Just one. Examples: a desk corner, your bedside table, a single shelf, a bathroom cabinet, a section of the kitchen counter. Make that space deliberately ordered, clean, curated, intentionally claimed. Every morning and every night, protect that space from disorder. It becomes your anchor point in a place that stopped feeling like home the moment you had to leave it behind. Why this works? When you move out after separation, your identity loses its physical framework. A father's sense of self is grounded in rhythm, location, and responsibility. This practice restores one stable reference point, one controlled territory inside upheaval, one daily reminder that you still author your environment and your life. Identity does not rebuild through insight alone. It rebuilds from the smallest reclaimed territory upward. This is how emotional disintegration quietly reverses. 2. The morning steel frame. Mornings hurt because they used to start with my child. After separation, mornings become the most dangerous emotional vacuum. No school run, no breakfast routine, no noise, no movement, no purpose pulling you forward. This ritual prevents the morning collapse that destroys many dads living away from their kids. How to apply it? Before your phone, before the world, before anything. 1. Stand up, shoulders back, 1 slow nasal breath. 2. Drink 1 full glass of cold water. 3. 1 physical activation, choose 1. 10 push-ups or a 50-second sit down or a 30-second plank. 4. Say 1 sentence out loud. Today, I lead with calm, steady discipline, not despair. Total time, 90 seconds. No emotion required, just execution. Why this works? When you don't live with your child, your mornings become a battlefield between loneliness and momentum. Commanding the first 90 seconds forces your physiology to take the lead, not your grief, not your fear, not the empty space beside you. You set the tempo. You refuse emotional gravity. You start the day as a father who is moving, not a father who is sinking. 3. The 3-voice circle. Without my child, my thoughts spiral, and I feel like I'm drowning in my own head. Isolation is the deepest wound of distance. When a dad loses daily contact with his child, his mind becomes a hostile echo chamber. This practice introduces 3 stabilizing voices, voices that prevent cognitive collapse. How to apply it? I want you to choose exactly 3 steady voices. 1 author whose work grounds you. 1 podcast mentor who speaks with clarity, never drama. 1 real-life stable male friend or elder who doesn't feed the chaos. Consume these voices repeatedly, not social media noise, not reactionary content, not emotional volatility. Why this works? A father living away from his child already battles internal storms. Unfiltered noise makes the wound deeper. Stable voices. Regulate your emotional baseline. Prevent catastrophic thinking. Keep your identity anchored. Reduce intrusive thoughts about failure, loss, and guilt. A steady circle creates a steady father. 4. Physical crafting. I'm stuck in my head, and everything reminds me of the distance. When a father is separated from his child, the mind easily slips into regret loops, future fears, and emotional paralysis. But creation breaks that cycle. How to apply it? I want you to choose 1 physical craft you can build or shape with your hands. Woodwork, cooking, sketching, gardening, model building, car detailing. Time block 90 minutes twice a week. Non-negotiable. Why this works. For a dad living away from his kids, craft gives you embodied meaning. It grounds your nervous system. It pulls you out of mental suffering. It restores the part of you that builds, not the part of you that breaks. When the mind collapses, the hands must take command. Physical creation is emotional medication. 5. The social perimeter filter. Distance has made me lonely, vulnerable, and open to the wrong influences. Loneliness can trick wounded dads into letting the wrong people into their circle because misery loves company. But that damages them more than the separation itself. This practice protects you from emotional contamination. How to apply it? Establish a 3-tier perimeter. Tier access function. Inner 2 to 3 trusted humans. Only emotional safety, grounding, wisdom, middle acquaintances, neutral, functional interactions, outer social noise, zero emotional access. Why this works? When you're separated from your kids, you become emotionally exposed. Allowing one wrong person in your inner circle can derail months of progress. A disciplined perimeter prevents emotional dependency, manipulation, drama, energy drain, rewounding, distraction from your child's needs. Your perimeter is your survival architecture. A father who lives with emotional order survives the distance. A father without boundaries collapses. Now, here's the closing drill. Duration, approximately 60 seconds. Purpose, slow the nervous system, stabilize the mind, and give dads living away from their children a controlled landing at the end of the episode. Step 1, drop the shoulders, 10 seconds. Exhale once, long, steady, deliberate. Let the shoulders fall as if you're putting down a weight no one else can see. This exhale signals to the nervous system. You're not bracing anymore. You're allowed to breathe. Step 2, anchor to one point, 10 seconds. Choose one object in the room, a mug, a light switch, a shelf corner. Hold your gaze there. Don't think about it. Let it narrow your attention into a single steady lane. Step 3, name the feeling, 10 seconds. In your mind only. Name the feeling sitting in your chest right now. Grief, anger, loneliness, fear. No stories, no explanations, just the emotion. Step 4, short body scan, 15 seconds. Move your attention from head to feet, slow and steady. No fixing, no judging, just noticing the body you've been carrying all day. Step 5, state the direction, 10 to 15 seconds. Choose one quiet sentence that sets your next step in the right direction. One steady move at a time. I stay grounded tonight. I show up again tomorrow. That's all for today, guys. This episode closes where control returns. Inside of you, not outside of you. Distance does not define the father you become. Discipline does. You now hold 10 internal levers that rebuild identity, steadiness, emotional regulation, and long-game leadership without begging anyone for access. Keep your tools private. Keep your growth quiet. Keep your rhythm consistent. I'll see you inside the next Toolbox episode on Sunday, where we'll continue building the father your child will one day recognize as unshakable. Also look out for the next Distance Dad Diaries episode 2 on Friday. Remember, once a dad, always a dad. This is support content only, not legal or medical advice. If you feel unwell or need to speak to someone, please contact your local emergency services immediately.